Hey everybody, in the Full-Time Coach project, I wanted to show you what it looks like to download and edit your audio recordings, because we've been talking about creating a teleseminar series and having audio products. So I want to show you the back end, the technical side of actually getting those products and editing what you need to edit and using them. So once you're done with the teleseminar recording, if you're using freeconferencecall.com, then you'll go in here. This is freeconferencecall.com's welcome page, or actually, I think this is the page. And then you click up here. I'm logged in somewhere else, so this should say log in. And then you'll get, there you go. So it'll say login. You just click on login. You enter these three pieces of information based on your own conference call system. And when you do that, you'll have a dashboard that looks something like this. So this was our, these are the 7 calls that we've done so far as of the time that I'm recording this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a little audio snippet to put on my blog from our most recent content call, which is this one right here, number 6, on November 5th. So the way you download these is pretty simple. You just see a download right there, and you click on WAV or MP3. Now, if you're going to just put something on the internet, then you can just use the MP3 button and or MP3 file, and it'll give you this box, and it'll ask you where to save it to and so forth. I already have this one saved, so I don't need to save it. Down here in the bottom right hand corner, you might see I've got this affirmation software that a friend of mine makes, and you put in your affirmations, and every 15 minutes one of them pops up and just reminds you. So I was just reminded of my lean and healthy body that I am working toward. So if you're going to just put this on the internet, on a website or something like that, MP3 is fine. MP3 files are smaller files because they are condensed down. They are, what's the right word? Condensed is basically the best word, I guess. So what that means is the audio quality is not as good, because the purpose of the MP3 file is to be as light as possible, as low as possible in terms of the space that it takes up on your computer. If you're going to take these and put them on a CD, then I would suggest using a WAV file. So the WAV file is going to be heavier on your computer. It's generally going to be more megabytes and so forth, but the range is still intact, and the clarity in the audio file is still intact. When the MP3 file is compressed, that's the word I was looking for earlier, some of the quality of the sound is sacrificed, right? On the internet, it's not all that big of a deal, but when you put it on a CD, it is a much bigger deal. If you listen to a CD that has an MP3 file on it versus a CD that has a WAV file on it, you can totally tell the difference, especially if somebody's wearing headphones, and a lot of people are nowadays, listening to it on their iPhones or whatever. So if you have something on CD and it's an MP3 file, it sounds kind of, I don't know the best way to put it. Sometimes it sounds like you're talking into a funnel, and it has this metallic sort of sound to it. And when I didn't know this early on, for the first couple of years, I just put everything as an MP3 file to save space on CDs and stuff, and we had people that were complaining about the quality because it just sounded this weird kind of metallic sort of sound to it. So depending on where you're going to use the audio, that will make your determination of whether you want to do an MP3 or a WAV file. If you're just going to put stuff up on the internet, do MP3. And then that's just been my experience. You can test it out on your own. So once you save the file, I have this saved on my desktop, and I've renamed it here FTCP call5.mp3. So once you have the file on your computer, now you're ready to edit. And the editing software that I use is a free software, and it's called Audacity. So if you were to type in download Audacity, you can find this link right here. It'll take you to a page where you can download Audacity for Windows or for Mac, and they pretty much work the same for either one of them. Once you have that file or that application program, then you open up Audacity. I've got it opened here on my Mac, and the program looks like this. Now, Audacity's free. The give and take with it is because it's free, there's no customer service. I spent, I don't know, a few hours, years ago, just playing around, just going through each one of these drop-down menus. What does this mean? What does this mean? Let's see, the edit, the generate, the effect. Once I have an audio in here, all these will be clickable. But these are the different effects that you can do. And so this is where, kind of the magic happens. This is where you just want to test things out and see how you can play with the program. So my experience is that if you have questions, two things. If you have questions, they've got this little help menu right here. As with anything, if you want to find out how to edit in Audacity, you can probably type that in Google and find a video of somebody that's done a tutorial on it on YouTube or something like that, and you can probably see a lot of this stuff in action. Or the other thing is just figure it out, just play with it. That's what I did. What I want to show you today is the basics of how to edit audio projects. And so what you do is you go to Project, and this is where you have the Import Audio function. So you'll import your audio, finding it on your computer. So mine is labeled FTCP call 5. So let's find that. FTCP call number 5, MP3. So just click open. It will import the file into Audacity, and then we'll be able to edit it. So the basic things that I want to teach you is just how to cut certain things out of the audio. I don't know if I have music. I'll see if I can show you how to put music on top of the audio too. It'll depend on whether I have some music on the computer that I can use, but if I do, this is actually really fun. When I learned how to do Audacity, I spent a lot of time doing my audio programs in the beginning, and I was adding music on the front, music on the back, and it's really, really cool. If you're into this kind of stuff, it is just really, really fun. So the audio file comes in like this, and this is how pretty much all audio files that you'll ever see will look. They've got, I don't know what this is called, the range or whatever, and these are like the voice. I don't know what the technical term is, but these are like the little voice waves. So the sound. So obviously anything that's blank like that, a little flat line, there's no sound coming off of it. And so you play this.
John? Doug here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, Doug.
I do have
Cool.
have a question for you.
I cut to Doug asking a question. So this is the full file, and then what you'd want to do is you'd want to listen to it. When I'm editing my own files, I listen to the whole thing. Sometimes I will pull out the ums and the ahs and things like that. Actually, let me go ahead and show you how to do this. If I were to...
As I'm looking...
what I just did is... Okay, let me explain what I just did. When you have...
week,
when it's
handouts are
playing...
gonna be right there on the archives page.
When it's playing and you hit pause, you'll notice that this button and this button and this button and this button are all grayed out. You can't use those buttons. But when you hit stop, then these buttons are usable again. So this button will take you all the way back to the beginning. So let's say I want to cut something out of the beginning here.
Okay, everyone, welcome to call number 5 of the Full-Time Coach Project. And hopefully you have the handout. I apologize for my technology challenges. But just know that...
All right, I'm going to do something that might be actually kind of tough, but I want to show you how to do it. I said a in there. Now, usually when I'm posting live recordings, I don't care about saying ums and ahs because it's live, and that's how I talk anyway, and that's how most people talk. So I don't care. But let's say you do care, and you want to take your ums out, or if there's any crackle in the audio recording, whatever you want to take them out. I want to show you how to do that. And over here in the upper right-hand corner, you've got these little magnifying glasses. You click on plus, and that will zoom in, and then minus will zoom out. So you can zoom out to where, you know, the entire recording, which is over an hour and 15 minutes, is just right there. You can zoom in to where we're looking at, you know, 1 second increments here. So to do editing like this, if you want to pull out little tiny things in your language, you're going to have to really zoom in here. So let's find this little culprit and see if we can extract him.
And hopefully you have the handout. I apologize for my technology challenges, but just know that.
Okay, so it looks like it's right here. It's right in here, and I could just tell because I was just watching, and when I heard myself say but, that's where it was. So I know this is where we're going to look, and all I'm doing is zooming in really close. You can see that now this whole window only is like 3.5 seconds. So if I were to play this, it would just go, it would be like really fast. So what I'm going to do is, this is highlighted, so I think if I play it, it'll just play the highlighted section.
But just know.
Okay, so, and I'll usually just play it a couple times just to kind of understand exactly what I'm cutting out here.
But just know.
All right, so I am going to cut out, I think this says but. Oh, that just says great. So the but must be here.
But.
All right, cool. So that's easy because there's a break in between there. I thought that it was going to be right up against each other, and that makes it a little more challenging. If you have to really go in there, if this is, now this can be painful and can be tough, but you can go in there if you zoom in a lot, and you can break things up that are really smashed together. That can take a long time. Ideally, I just wouldn't do that. But let's say I want to take out this you highlight it, and then there's scissors up here in the menu, and you just click on the scissors. And now the is gone.
Technology challenges, but just know that
and I would probably take the but out also, because I think that sort of, if I'm in here and I'm cutting anyway, I might as well take the but out.
Challenges. Just know that
and now it sounds seamless. Okay, so when you are wanting to cut out little tiny words like that, you're gonna need to zoom in, and you know, you can get really sort of be a perfectionist here and cut out. I used to take probably a couple hours on an hour-long audio and clean it up a lot, and then I just got to the point where I didn't want to do it that long. I just didn't want to spend the time on it, and so generally I just let all my recordings go, and people get what they get. You know, if it's good enough for me to say live, it's good enough to say on the recording. That's just the way I usually work with a live recording. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull out this little chunk that I was talking about on mindset, and I know it's right around the 10.5 minute mark. So I'm going to listen. I think it's at about 10:24. Let's see.
You know, I really believe that the information age is over.
All right, cool. So this is basically where I want to start. I'm going to clean that up in the beginning, but what I'm going to do first is delete all the stuff up until that point, and that's where the zoom out tool can be really helpful. So I'm going to zoom out and then grab that left side and drag it all the way to the beginning and cut it out. Now I'm going to zoom back in, go all the way to the beginning, and I should have that spot.
You know, I really believe that the information age is over.
All right, cool. So I'm going to be a little anal here, and I'm going to try to take out that first I don't really like to start something that way.
You know, I really...
All right, so I'm going to take that out, and let's see what we're left with.
You know, I really believe that the
all right, cool. I'm good with that. So I really believe that the information age is over, and I talked about that for about a couple minutes. You might have to bear with me here. My goal is to do this and not have to edit it and convert it, and I'm just going to try to take this recording that I'm doing right now and just upload it straight to YouTube, but that means you're going to have to bear with me a sec while I search for where I want to cut. I know I talk for about 2 minutes. Let's see.
Depended on your client's results. In other words, if you only got paid if your clients had results, how would that change the way you do business? How would it change your offering? How might it change your price points? How might it change your accessibility, right? And, you know, I already have a whole...
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some stuff out here in the middle. So I'm going to have to remember.
Right? And, you know...
All right, so I'm going to end it right about 2:15.
Accessibility, right?
Okay, so I'm going to cut this part out right here. Here's the way I do it. I know I'm going to cut out, I don't know, like a minute or so. I don't remember how much and where. I don't want to lose this place, though. So if I just cut it, I really can't tell where that place is. Right? Now, if you cut something and you want to undo it, you go back up here to Edit, and you can do Undo Cut. So I just undid that cut. There's another feature in here. I don't know what it's called, but up here in the bar, you got this little icon, and it looks like there's a flat line in between the waves. So if you click on that, it'll basically just mute that whole area that you just highlighted. So I'm going to do that because now I can tell where I'm starting that, where I'm ending that old section, right? And then I know it's just easier to go back and find that place where I cut it from. I believe I'm cutting out about a minute. I don't remember exactly what, so again, bear with me as I find where I want to cut.
And I'm not trying to talk bad about people, but I think that's just out there in the internet world especially. I'm sure most of us have had an experience where we said yes to something, we paid somebody money, whether it was online or offline, but then we didn't feel all that important afterwards, right? So what would change in your business? How would you do things differently if you only got paid if your clients had results? Now, I don't believe that we are responsible for our clients.
So this is where I'm stopping. Now, there's nothing wrong with what I said. It's just I'm using this as a blurb on my blog, and this little piece about marketers, how they sometimes get the sale and then go away. It just doesn't fit my purpose for what I want. So I cut all that part out, and I'm going to cut a little bit more out, and then I'm going to test it to see if it sounds, this transition right here, just to see if it sounds like I want it to.
Your price points. How might it change your accessibility? Now, I don't believe that we are responsible.
Cool. So it sounds easy. I mean, not easy, but it sounds like a smooth transition. It doesn't sound all choppy or weird. Sometimes if you're cutting and pasting things together, your voice tonality has changed from one part of the call to another part of the call, and so sometimes it actually, there's not a real smooth transition. Most of the time, it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, if it's the same call, it's not a big deal if your voice changes a little bit. If you're talking about two different calls, a lot of times your voice actually really does sound different, or the line itself sounds different. So just be aware of that. And while we're in here and editing, this is now bothering me, although I usually don't care. So I'm just going to take that little guy out. After every edit, I check.
How might it change your price points? How might it change your accessibility? Now, I don't believe that...
Cool. So that sounds really smooth. Doesn't sound like anything was cut. It doesn't sound clunky or anything like that. And then, let's see, I talk for about 3 more minutes from this point. So let's see. Let's go to about the 4.5 minute mark. Let's see what I'm doing here.
I'm positive I could do that. And I think pretty much all of us on this line probably could too. It's about committing to something rather than continually searching. But just make sure you don't get caught in that mode of learning without implementing, right?
All right, I think that's where I'm going to stop. Let's see.
It's all about the fundamentals. The secret to success.
Yep. All right, perfect. So I found that pretty easily, and that's where I'm going to stop. So it's a little bit over 5 minutes, and then what I'm going to do is just cut the rest of it off. So I zoom out, highlight everything, cut it, and now I have this little 5-minute blurb that came straight out of our call. All right. So what we want to do here, similar, and I probably should have saved this earlier. You know, save all your work, especially when you're editing and stuff like this. Just like any Word document, save it as often as you can. I'm going to save this project, and let's see, what am I going to call this thing? I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it the power of implementation. And I'm saving it as an Audacity file right now. That's why that's the AUP. That's like when you see a DOC at the end of a Word document or something like that. So this is being saved as an Audacity file. Okay, I'm just going to leave it right here on the desktop. You can change it and put it wherever you want to. But I'm going to save it as an Audacity file. Now you can see the name up here changed, Power of Implementation. And but now it's just an Audacity file. It's not an audio file that we can use yet. So if I were to take this file right here and try to upload it somewhere, it wouldn't work because it's just an Audacity file. What we have to do is we have to export it to an audio file. And in order to do that, you go up here and click on File, and then you click on Export either as a WAV or as an MP3. Now, this can get a little challenging. I don't think I can export this as an MP3. Let's try though. I think there's something missing for most of us. So I usually export it as a WAV and then convert it to an MP3, which is an additional step here. But let's try it. Maybe things have changed. So I'm going to try to convert this to an MP3. And it'll ask you for the title, which is kind of cool because then it asks you for the artist. And I just think it's neat to type your own name in for the artist. Now you have an album. The album this is the implementation album. That just sounds sweet. Nobody will, actually, I was just about to say nobody will ever see this. That's not true. If you were to put this on a CD and people were to put it in their CD player, that if the CD player is configured to read this stuff, it'll actually show up. Like it'll scroll across the viewer, you know, your name and an album title and stuff like that, if it's configured that way. So, but usually, you know, people aren't really going to see this if you're just going to put it up on the internet. But you might as well. But maybe I don't know that. Maybe there are people that are seeing this and I'm not sure of. You know, I don't even realize what they're seeing, so it's better to be safe than sorry, I guess. And then you've got all of these options to, and this is really, again, this isn't all that important. I just find other, and you can put comments in there or what have you, and hit OK, and let's see if this is going to work. Actually, I don't know if it's going to work. Shoot, it looks like it is. This is awesome. So this might just be a Word or a PC thing. If you do a PC, you might not be able to import or export rather as an MP3. Apparently, I can. So I don't know if this is just the newer version of Audacity is now allowing us to do MP3s, or if it's the Mac versus the Microsoft or what. But let's check this thing. So I'm gonna play it.
You know, I really believe that the information age.
Awesome. So we have an MP3. Now let me go back and try to explain this. If you have, actually I'll just show it to you. Let's say you, for whatever reason, it doesn't let you export as an MP3. This is the process that I used to always have to take. It'll export as a WAV file, but now on with WordPress, when you're going to put something like this up on the internet, most of them are designed to only take MP3 files. A lot of times they're not designed to have a WAV file. Okay, so here's how we rectify that situation. There is a program, I think I have it, called Switch. Here it is right here. So you can download Switch and it converts audio files. It switches audio files. That's why it's called Switch. So what I would do is I would open this with Switch, or you can open Switch and just find the file. I think it's easier to right-click on the file and open it in Switch, and then it'll already be all set up and ready to go, hopefully. All right, so now you've got the power of implementation. It's a WAV file. You can see this right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to convert it to an MP3 file. Output to same folder as source files. What that means is if it's on the desktop, it'll put it on the desktop. If the file's in a certain folder, it will put it in that same folder, wherever that is, okay? So I always just keep it in the same folder. And then right here, you switch the output format. I've never used any of these other ones. I've only used MP3. So the way it's set up right now is it will take this WAV and convert it to an MP3 and dump it wherever I already have it. Okay, and then you just click Convert. Now you can see that I already have an MP3 because I already downloaded it before. So it'll ask me if I want to overwrite it, and I'll just click on Yes. And it will convert it. And I don't know why it named it TMP, but anyway, so it'll convert it to an MP3. So now you'll have the, that must have been just like a temporary thing. So now you have the MP3 version, and you can throw it up on a website. I mean, you could put it on a CD, and you can, use it as a free thing that you give away. So there's lots more stuff, obviously, that I can show you. I'm not going to show you how to put it on blogs and all that stuff right now because I don't want to be confusing, but I just wanted to show you how to edit, how to grab your audio from freeconferencecall.com or whatever conference system you're using, how to edit it simply in Audacity, and how to use it, how to then convert it and use it. Actually, I told you I was going to maybe show you a couple more things. Let me show you a few of the other things that I've used before that can be really fun. Let's say you want to fade something in. You want to just, for whatever reason, you want the sound to be faded in. Let's say the first 5 seconds you want to fade it in. You would highlight that area and go to Effect, and then you click on Fade In, and it'll convert it like this so that it leads in to the full audio. So it'll sound like this.
I really believe that the information age is over. I say that because...
Now that wasn't too noticeable, I don't think. But it's, you can use it. And then to fade out is the exact, same thing. So let's say you want to go to the back end of your audio, same process, highlight a little bit, click Effect, Fade Out, and it will fade itself out.
Of learning, but just make sure you don't get caught in that mode of learning without implementing, right?
Cool.
Of learning.
So that's just kind of fun. Amplify. Let me show you this. Let's say, let's see if there's any place in here that needs to be amplified. Not a whole. Actually, I wouldn't amplify anything on here because we had a pretty clean line. But what happens is, actually, let me show you this. What happens sometimes is when you have people come on the phone, I'm going to open up a new file. When you have people show up on the phone, a lot of times their audio isn't as clean as your audio is, or it's not as loud as your audio is. So I'm going to do a new project, and I'm going to open up the full thing again, because I know Doug came in and I took some Q&A, and so you'll see that there's some variation in the Q&A. So if you're going to put it up online and somebody is calling in, or there's areas of your call that's really low, then it helps for the user, for the listener, for you to amplify that so that it's not, really loud and then really low. It's just kind of irritating for the volumes to be switching back and forth. So this is a pretty relatively simple process, but I just want to show you how it looks. So once it gets imported in here, you'll be able to visually see the areas that are lower than the other ones. And sometimes you'll have to do this with the entire call. You know, there's been times where I, for whatever reason, the call is really low, and I, it looks like this area right here, where the whole call, that's the whole range right there, and that'll cause people to strain. So you might want to amplify the whole call. But let's see if we can tell the difference here.
Putting either workshops together or what we're looking at as far as putting something on that we're going to just strictly do on.
All right. Now, if I was putting this up, I wouldn't amplify that because that's not a big deal. But let me just show you how. If we wanted to amplify this part right here, you just highlight it, you go to Effect, you click on Amplify, and I still haven't figured out, this defaults to something, and it's different a lot of times. So right now, for whatever reason, it's on 10.7. I don't know what that means. Amplification 10.7. What would make sense if it means it's like 10.7 times as loud, but it doesn't seem to mean that. I don't know. Every time it's just like, just test it. And you have to click on the Allow Clipping. So you click OK, it'll amplify it, and then you can see that it just shot up. Now, this is probably going to be way too loud.
Putting either workshops together or what we're looking at as far as putting something on.
Yes, that's a little bit too loud, so I would not do that. I'm going to undo Amplify, and then just do it again. Amplify, and instead of 10.7, I would do like 5. Let's see what happens if we do only 5. Oh, that's perfect. So that takes it up to pretty much right on pace with all the other ones. All right. So that's the Amplify. The final thing I want to show you, I don't know that I can show this to you. It'll depend on whether I can find an audio, like a music track. I don't know that I have any on this computer, actually. Let's see. I usually name them audio, intro, something. These all look like just regular old files. Let's see. Let me see if these are... All I need is just any kind of music file, and I'm sure I could find one if I play around enough, but let's see. It's hard to tell. I know I have to have something on here. Let me. I think this will be worth it to show you this. Oh, cool. All right, looks like we do have some stuff in here, and I think that pulled right off my iTunes actually, or maybe off my phone, or maybe it didn't. Let's see. Huh? It opened up this track, but it doesn't look like it actually imported anything. And when you have 2 tracks on here, you can mute them. So like I can mute this top track and it won't play it. And oh wow, sorry about that. That kind of hurt my ears. God, that like shocked my bones. All right, but we're getting somewhere. So let's see if we can import a different audio that's going to come in. So for whatever reason, this M4A is not. It's not cool. It's not kosher. Let's see if I can just search for MP3s. Alright, so we know M4As are not going to be good. Music. Let's see. So these are like all my iTunes. Yeah, so that's not going to be doable. Golden Nugget. I know I have something called outro. I've got a audio called that. So I guess I just don't have it. Dang it, I want to show you this too. This is pretty cool. Music, iTunes, GarageBand. Let's see. That's not working. iTunes, library. Maybe some downloads. Some music. We already looked in there. Some podcasts. I don't know if this is going to work, you guys. I'm looking for an MP3 file. Yeah, it looks like those M4As are just not going to work. Bummer. Alright, let me try. Let me spend a little bit more time. Let me just try one more different file, see if it comes in differently. Nope. Alright. Alright, I got another idea. Import audio. Christmas. I know I downloaded something. M4V. Let's try this. Oh, we wish you a Merry Christmas. No, that's M4A anyway. Christmas wish. That didn't change much. Alright, well, let's see if this works. The Smith Family Christmas. That was a M4V. No, that's a movie file. Dang it. PowerPoint. Huh. Bummer. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Yeah, it's playing in iTunes. Alright, this might actually be helpful. Let's see if we can convert this thing. Rating, create, consolidate, copy, delete. There is a way to convert your iTunes. There's got to be a way to convert your iTunes into MP3s, but it's not easy. And so, shoot, maybe there isn't a way. Alright. Well, it doesn't look like I'll be able to show you. I'm not going to give up. No, we're going to figure this out. I'm going to find an MP3. Oh, MP3 audio. That looked promising. Alright, there it is. Revelation. Got it. Alright, this is what we're going to do. Revelation full. That's one of the things that I use. Oh, look at it. It's right there. Holy cow. Oh. Open. Alright, I don't know where I'm at anymore. So let me just start again. Project. Alright. It's playing. That's why it wasn't letting me import anything. Project. Import audio. I am now looking for Revelation. Why am I getting all these things? Okay, Revelation full. Got it. Now we're cooking. So this is a music track that I have that I've put on the front end of some of my CDs. And let me show you how to do that. So you can see that I have the top track muted. So when I play it, it'll only play the bottom track. It's got a cool little beat to it, right? So let's say, I love this stuff. All right, let's say that I want the first like 15 seconds or so of this beat. I'm going to cut. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to mute all of that stuff. And then, I'm not sure this is going to work. I'm just going to cut all that. So I'm going to cut all of it. Now I've got the first 15 seconds of here. So what I would do is I would grab the first 5 seconds and fade it in. Fade in. And then I would grab the last few seconds and fade out. Fade out. And now what we have, see now if we played them together, this wouldn't work because I'll be talking over.
Click on the page.
I'll be talking over the audio.
Okay, everyone, welcome to.
So what we do is up here in the top left corner, there's this little double-edged arrow icon. You click on that, and then it'll let you move the tracks. So I'm going to take this top one and I'm going to move it to where I usually like to overlay them barely, to where I start talking before the music is completely out. So here's what it'll sound like. In the beginning, we'll fade it in. And this is what it'll sound like at the end. Oh, and then you got to go back to click on the other button so you can maneuver around. This is what it'll sound like at the end.
Okay, everyone, welcome to call number 5.
Kind of cool, huh? Actually, I didn't like the way that sounded. I would let the music fade out probably on this one.
Okay, everyone, welcome to call number.
Cool. And that's an abrupt ending to the song. So that's, I think, what I'm not liking, because I didn't really pay attention to where I cut it. But this is how you would do that. And so what you could do is on the back end, let's see if I can, I don't even know if I can do this. Let's see if I can copy and paste this. Edit, copy. And then let's see if I can paste. I would have to add a different track. Now this time I'm not importing an audio. I'm adding a new audio track that I can paste what I just copied onto. So now it'll add this new track down at the bottom. And what I'm going to see, I don't even know if this is going to work, if I can just paste this on here. Cool, it looks like it worked. It put it all the way at the beginning though. So now I've got the same thing. Now you'll notice this has 2 tracks to it. This only has 1. It's not a big deal. With this single track, I'm going to mute both of these and let's see if it came in good. Alright, cool. The reason I checked it is in the past when I've copied and pasted onto new tracks, it gets all distorted or super fast or super slow. But this one looks good. So now what I can do is I can take that same thing and scoot it over towards the end. Scoot it all the way to the end of my audio. And now I'd have to zoom in a little bit. This takes going back and forth a lot of times, as you can see. If you put the cursor right here, then it should zoom in on the cursor. So now I can zoom in. I know I've got to move that just a touch more. And then I can unmute this top track here. And let's see how it sounds on the way out.
This week, I think we have a mentorship call on Friday the 9th. So I will be chatting with you then. If you have any questions, email me, post on Facebook, and let's keep going. Take care, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Sean. Thanks.
I love this track. I've got it on a bunch of different audios for me. Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad. Sorry it was a little clunky while I was trying to find this audio file. I should have thought of it beforehand, or if I would have thought of it beforehand, I would have made sure I know exactly where it was. But hopefully that was valuable, because it's really cool to add just a little bit of music on the front and the back end. I would definitely suggest it, especially anything that you're charging for. It just adds a little bit more of personality to it. dynamics. You can go online and search for royalty-free music. What that means is you'll have to buy this music, but once you buy it, it's royalty-free, meaning you own the copyright, and you can put it on any of your CDs, and you have like the license to use it wherever without charging a royalty. If you were going to download a Beyonce song and use it on your CDs, technically you would owe her a royalty every time you use that. Now, whether they'll come search you and find you, if you're on Beyonce's radar, then you're doing something pretty good in the first place. But I would definitely suggest you stay above board and just buy some kind of royalty-free music. You can search them and find the music that has the energy that you want, and then you can add music in between or on the front or on the back of your audios. So hopefully this has been helpful. You can use this as a little tutorial that you can go back and forth to. And if you have any questions on any of this stuff, let me know. So let's get out there and start making the products. Now you know how to edit them. You know how to technically put the stuff together. And now you are off and running, my friends. And honestly, this is all I use. Like, I have over 150 audio products. This is it. This is the system that I've used to do pretty much all of them. Sometimes I have maybe 4 or 5 CDs where I've spent a lot of time editing and putting music and laying music in the background, especially when I do my visualizations. On CD, I have visualization music, like meditation type music in the background, so there's more to it. But this is all you need to know to put a content audio program together. I'll talk to you all soon.